I feel very fortunate to have gotten some association with Mukunda Maharaj. He has a very interesting perspective on the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He was there before the society was incorporated with Srila Prabhupada in the Lower East Side of New York. He was there with Srila Prabhupada before 26 Second Avenue. As a matter of fact, he was instrumental in helping Srila Prabhupada find and get 26 Second Avenue. So he's seen the whole movement begin from that initial seed in New York City that has now sprouted into this whole international society for Krishna consciousness, and he continues to play an important and active role in the society. Uh, I joined the Hare Krishna movement in 1973 or 74. That was my first contact with the devotees, and I became an initiated disciple of Srila Prabhupada in 1976. Of course, I had heard of Mukunda Maharaj, but it wasn't until, I guess, the late 1970s, 1978 or 79, he had come to Los Angeles. And at that time, I was doing some service with Back to Godhead magazine and had begun writing some articles. And we were part of a team. I became part of his team to produce some books for the BBT, like Coming Back, Higher Taste, Chant and Be Happy, and that book series. So I got a chance to really associate with him and do service with him at that time, and I could see he was a very low key person in the sense that I never saw him yell or scream or lose his temper. It's always very well modulated, but at the same time very serious. You know, he wanted to please his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, by representing his movement in a way that was faithful to the tradition, but still attractive, as attractive as possible to the modern population. So later, after that series of books, he had the idea of producing a book about Krishna consciousness and the environmental issues, which even in those days were becoming prominent in society and the world. And he made an effort to bring the whole movement along with this vision. He was able to persuade the GBC to make one of its first policy statements on the environment. They passed a resolution expressing the Hare Krishna movement's concern about the environmental crisis and explaining that the ultimate cause of it was can be traced to spiritual roots, that a spiritual solution was necessary. So that was accompanied by the publication of the book Divine Nature. a spiritual perspective on the environmental crisis. And I think Mukunda Maharaj has continued his interest in this, in that he's now organizing devotees to do a reprint of Divine Nature, updated. The original book was published a couple of decades ago, so it could use some updating. And he has other projects also in that same direction and field. Another thing I've always noticed about Mukunda Maharaj is that he has a real sense of humor. He, on the one hand, he takes his commitment to serving Srila Prabhupada very seriously, and he dedicates his full energy to that. But at the same time, I've always found him to be very personable, to always have a sense of humor about himself and about others that is somehow or other enlivening. Many people in their attempts to be humorous do it in the sense of cutting someone down, but I've always experienced his humor to be enlightening and uplifting. So I remain grateful for whatever association I've been able to have with Mukunda Maharaj. Hare Krishna.